Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So Bitcoin unexpectedly came down today. And there are two events, two things that I want to concentrate that could be causing trouble for Bitcoin. All right, so let's get started. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and make sure you follow all my channels. All right, guys, welcome. Tonight, we're seeing little volatility. We haven't seen a lot of volatility recently, but today we are. So you can see Bitcoin is down about 2% versus yesterday. Not the most horrific drop, but we are seeing a little bit of weakness, a little bit of volatility versus yesterday. So about a 400-point drop, right? 22.8. But some people are wondering what is going on, right? If you look at an entire market cap, went down about 3%-ish, right? And the strange thing is, well, right now, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the U.S. markets. Tomorrow's looking pretty much even. Today was also not bad. So what is causing this? Well, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. One, actually, I think is much worse than the other, and one is more temporary. One is more long-lasting. So let's talk about these two things. First of all, let's talk about the DXY. The DXY has been, actually, this is what I meant to show. The DXY, which is basically measuring the strength of the dollar, continues to rise up. In fact, today, it broke through a local top and is heading higher. And some people are charting and expect the DXY to keep going up. For example, this person right here, Justin Bennett, thinks that the next stop for DXY will be at 120. And we haven't seen levels like that since 2000, the dot-com bubble. Now, why is the DXY important? You may be wondering, well, if the dollar is getting stronger, shouldn't everything go up? No, actually, it's an inverse. When the dollar goes up, that's when equities and crypto traditionally go down, and vice versa. When DXY strength goes down, then equities and crypto goes up. So one may be wondering, why is the DXY going up? Well, this is actually due to a couple reasons. First, all the economic data like consumer spending, consumer confidence, right? Retail data, all the stuff that's been coming out is actually showing that Bitcoin is, not Bitcoin, the U.S. economy is actually pretty strong. And because of that, there's a lot more confidence in the dollar, especially those from other countries, because it's important to know that the DXY is compared to the other major fiat currencies around the world, including the euro, which is 50, almost 58% in this comparison. Then you have the yen, the Japanese yen, the British pound. Then you have a Canadian dollar, Swiss krona, and Swedish krona, and then Swiss franc, right? So the DXY is basically comparing the USD to all these major fiat currencies. And guess what is happening with every single one? Just to show you the three largest one. Well, the euro versus the dollar has been collapsing since May. It's been going down and down and down, and the euro is paired with USD. It's at parity. Okay, so obviously euro's not gaining any strength against the USD. The Japanese yen also since May has been collapsing more and more so. And then what about the British pound? Yes, collapsing, not near parity yet, but it could be there soon. And why is this? Well, because inflation is a real problem with all these zones. In Great Britain, we know UK is over 10%. Japan is very high too because they refuse to raise rates. And euro overall, Europe does have a high inflation rate as well, which is why the ECB is trying to raise rates too, right? So you add all that together, other countries are facing worse inflation than the U.S., okay? And the U.S. economy is still strong. So you put that all together, that is why the DXY is going upwards and could be going higher, right? But whenever we have this event, remember, this is short term, just like in 2000, right? It hit a peak and then boom. When the DXY, whenever it hits that peak and then comes down, look at 2000, from basically 2000 to 2008, that steep decline, that was one of the greatest histories, the greatest time period, right? Let me take that back. One of the greatest time period in history in terms of a market rally. Like, I remember NASDAQ and everything else went up so much within the last, within that 8-year time span, right? Until we had another recession, the housing bubble in 2008. So we had, So, just to show you guys, that's, I think, what's happening with the DXY, because actually all the economic data is still showing that the U.S. is strong. And when you versus other countries, they're struggling a lot more. So it's bringing strength to the dollar, which means a lot more countries and citizens and institutions and banks are putting their money into the dollar, right? So that is number one. Now, I did mention there's two things. One is short term, one is long term. This is what I consider more short term, although the short term of DXY rising could continue on for many, many weeks, many months. It could keep going, but still, the DXY always comes down. The dollar always loses strength, okay, eventually. So this is still a thing. DXY was coming down. Then it started rising up sharply because there's a lot, actually, the good economic data is what's causing it. So that's number one, okay? Now, there's a second thing that's happening today, or happened today, that I think has way longer repercussions. And it actually really sucks. So if you are in Canada, you're kind of screwed, okay? So first of all, let me make sure I didn't miss these super chats. Os, appreciate it, man. Teresa says, I do not own any web dollar. An extended family member started it and looked like crap. Basically, I verified it was crap for you. So don't invest in it. It does look kind of shady. And can BlackRock keep BTC from reaching all-time highs? If they wanted to, but no, that's not their agenda. They already accumulated. What they want is it to go up. So the second thing is this, and I think a lot of people missed it, and that is, if you are in Canada, okay, there's this new thing, okay, and I don't even know when this law was passed or if the Ontario Securities Commission, they just said it by themselves. Okay, so basically there's two exchanges that came out, and these two exchanges are saying, well, Bybit or BitBuy and Newton are basically enforcing a 30,000 Canadian dollar annual buy limit for restricted coins. Okay, now what's not restricted? Well, Bitcoin is not restricted. Bitcoin Cash, which no one cares about. Ethereum is not restricted, and Litecoin, and no one cares about Litecoin, right? But outside of these four, everything else is considered restricted, meaning you can't spend more than 30,000 Canadian dollars per year on, say, Solana, on Cardano, on Polygon, on BNB, on basically anything, Polkadot, Sheeb, Doge, you name it, right? You go down the list. If it's not Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Litecoin, it's all restricted. So this is what the Ontario Security Commission is enforcing upon these crypto exchanges, right? Due to because they think, well, this is to protect the consumers, right? So I think this is also incredibly horrible. I don't know who's going to fight this, right? But this sets a precedent for maybe other restrictions down the road, right? So I think a lot of people miss this. This is absolutely horrendous. This is horrendous. This is like the SEC telling Coinbase, well, you could only allow Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ether, and Litecoin to be bought, up to over $30,000. But everything else that you list, you cannot. And U.S. citizens cannot own more than $30,000 in anything else other than these four. It's horrible. It's really bad, right? So I don't know. So this is the second thing, the longer thing, right? And again, I don't know if this will expand beyond, you know, the Ontario Securities Commission, and expand beyond Canada. But anyways, this really sucks. So if you're in Canada and you want to trade, you probably want to trade outside of these Canadian exchanges, right? So yeah, not good at all. Okay. But what's good is, despite this, despite the DXY going up, right? And we know that there's always FUD that comes out of nowhere. Okay. We get random FUD everywhere from all directions sometimes, right? But we have been through a lot worse. We know we have been through a lot worse. We know we have been through 17K Bitcoin. Some of us has been through 4K Bitcoin, right? And other situations that seem to be very, very bad, right? But we always get through it. So I do think that DXY, that's more on a macro scale, even though temporarily it doesn't help crypto or equities with DXY going up. But, you know, if you look at the glass half full, the economy is still strong. And it shows that right now we're not going to a deep, deep recession and maybe into depression. Depression seems to be off the table, right? So if you look at it that way, well, that's actually not that bad. But as for Canada, I can't say anything good about this. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully someone fights this. And you know, we all think that only Gary Gensler wants all the power, right? Yeah, I mean, it looks like other security commissions also want the power too. They really just want to regulate crypto, or they're trying to protect their own financial system, their banks and a central bank, right? Because they feel threatened. One of the two. All right, guys. So I want to lead off with those things. I did say, yeah, these two things are causing trouble for Bitcoin. But like I just got done saying, we have seen worse. Bitcoin will get through it. And Bitcoin is global. So it's not just dictated by what's going on in Canada or the US, right? There's still a lot more adoption, a lot more growth that is coming, and I will show some of that today too. But besides these two big headline news, what else is there? Well, the U.S. is going to look into Celsius collapse. They treat it as a pretty major thing, just like Enron's collapse and other collapses, right? So they're going to be poking their heads in. So this will complicate things, right? So the U.S., and I don't know who they're getting. They're getting some kind of independent examiner. But if that examiner finds some wrongdoing, well, that's going to complicate the bankruptcy hearings, right? And the U.S. Justice Department may get involved. And if maybe they truly find out what Alex been doing behind the scenes, then you know, he may be facing some serious jail time. So we'll see what happens with this. But like I said, it just seems like this whole Celsius situation keeps getting worse and worse and worse. We're not seeing anything good come out of this hearing right now. Tatsuro asks, NSTQ seems to be recovering, but BTC is falling behind. You mean NASDAQ? Okay. Is Mongoose sell-off selling already? No. It hasn't happened yet. Is this a reason why we're not seeing Bitcoin pump? No, they haven't started yet. Scooby-Doo, I heard there's an issue with the ADA mainnet launch, right? I'm going to cover that. But no, it's not the main launch. It does. Inadvertently, it's going to cause problems to the main launch. But you're ahead of the game, man. Wait. Have some patience, man. All right. So there's that. Tether. You know, this is just a side note, obviously. But Tether recently said they were going to get audited. And I wasn't aware of BDO because I was aware of the big four, not the big five. So someone actually ranked them. So BDO is a big five firm for auditing. So if BDO can verify that they have the funds, they have cash to back however many billions, right, then it restores some faith into USDT, right? But as of now, we still don't know because all previous audits has been done by like really unknown shady firms and no one knows whether or not they're telling the truth, right? So we'll see. We'll get to the bottom of it. But if they can verify they have however many 67 billion in the bank, well, then good. Then we could move forward from this FUD because there has been a lot of FUD with USDT over the years. All right, Australia's leading gas station will now accept crypto at 170 locations. Australia is very pro-crypto, so that's good. Okay, like I said, it's not just, crypto is not just based on a few countries. Worldwide, still growing, still adopting. Coinbase, recently because of all the FUD around Tornado Cash and censorship and all this stuff, Brian Armstrong says he would rather shut down than enable on-chain censorship, which would give the U.S. Justice Department or U.S. Treasury basically full control full control of Coinbase, basically. Basically, they could look at whatever transactions they want, anytime they want, right? So Brian Armstrong says, don't worry, I'm not going to allow that to happen. I would rather shut down Coinbase than ever allow that to happen. So that's good. Good to hear. Whether or not that is actually going to be true, we don't know. We don't know. He may just get kicked off. I don't know, but hopefully it never comes down to that. All right, so as for other exchanges, you got Gemini that's also offering staking now. Gemini has been really, really, really quiet. Really quiet as of late. I don't know what's going on with Gemini, whether or not they had any exposure to CryptosRUs or Celsius or Voyager or Terra. We don't know. There's like no news coming out of them. But I guess no news in this case is good news, right? Still one of the leading exchanges in the U.S. And they're now offering staking for a lot of different coins, including Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, and Audio. Well, no, those will come, but Matic starting today, right? And other exchanges like Binance.us, already has staking for many of these coins and more. So these kind of staking, in case you're wondering, this is basically native staking. Basically, they're passing on staking into the chain and passing that on to you, right? So basically, they're taking a cut and they're giving you the remaining amount. So this has nothing to do with loaning out to other firms or anything like that. It's different kind of interest. All right, and then a few other things. As for Bitcoin, well, nothing really has changed. Right now we're still pressing against that 200 weekly moving average. So from a technical standpoint, it's very important. We were below, we broke above. So we're still holding above right now, right? But we are testing it once again. So a lot of people are looking at what's going on right now. Also, as for other health metrics, number of accumulating addresses just skyrocketing right now, right? And balance on exchanges just dipping like a rock, right? So it makes sense. So many people are accumulating, and now more than ever, people are taking their Bitcoin off the exchanges. They're safeguarding their own crypto, right? With all the stuff that's happening. So it makes a whole lot of sense. All right, and then last two things. I did see this. I haven't been keeping track of EOS, but some people are still fans of EOS. EOS is going to rebrand because they're getting away from Block 1. Block 1 basically, I think most people admits now have really just stalled and have done nothing for EOS. And there's like questionable characters, let's just say, from Block 1 that people really did not care for. But maybe after this new rebrand and separation, they can get some traction and come up again. So that would be great. And then lastly, someone asked, Scooby-Doo asked about Cardano. So this also sounds pretty bad. So I don't know what next steps are. But basically, there is a developer, Adam Dean, that has said the testnet is broken. So there's code, there's bad code. And because of it, there's been several forks that has happened with the testnet. And what's worse is some of the mainnet SOPs, basically, or SPOs, have upgraded, prematurely to this new software that also has some of the broken code within, right? So right now, basically, I think the next step is somehow figuring out how to either roll back the software or downgrade the software I don't actually know what the next step is. But basically, this is due to the fact that a lot of people think that Cardano has been rushing the Vasil hard fork because they're trying to compete with Ethereum's move to proof of stake. And a lot of people wanted Cardano to compete and move. And according to Adam and some of the others in the community, it seems like this was just rushed too fast. So now there are problems, and this could definitely affect the mainnet upgrade, but right now it is affecting just the testnet. But I don't know what the next step is. I don't think Charles and IOHK have said anything yet, so I guess we'll see. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me read some comments. A few people said, Canada does not have a nationwide security authority. I live in British Columbia and not affected by the rule. Well, that's good to hear. But if there's one region that already has it, who's to say other regions won't? I'm not saying I want to see that happen. I don't want to see that happen. But this is pretty scary, right? Ontario is a big city in Canada, and if they're imposing, and I don't even know why separate regions have their own security commission, but if they're imposing this, who's to say others won't? But anyways, hopefully it never happens. It's kind of scary, and this kind of thing should not happen. You should not impose legal limits on what people could purchase, right? It's really going beyond and basically telling people how they can spend their money and how they can't spend their money. This is the reason why people turn into crypto in the first place, right? So hopefully it doesn't expand. All right, let's do some Q&A. All right, let's see here. Scrolling up. I'm in Canada, SH. This is from before. SH says, this rule is irrelevant if used offshore exchanges. Well, yes, of course. But why should you be forced to use the offshore exchange, right? You shouldn't be. I mean, yeah. And what if, some of these other offshore exchanges start complying with Ontario's rules or Canada's rules, right? Just like in the U.S., you can't use a lot of major exchanges outside the U.S. because they still require you to do KYC, even though they're not based in the U.S., right? So you still don't want to see this kind of stuff happen. I missed that from earlier. All right, let's see here. Oleg, member for 12 months. Man, thank you. Canadian 30K limit does not apply in provinces of British Columbia and Alberta belt. Okay, continue. Canada will use cold storage indexes from now on. Well, those provinces, good for them, but hopefully it doesn't expand. Let's go Lakers. What happened to Lakers today? I know they signed LeBron for 2 years, $97 million. LeBron now has made the most guaranteed money in NBA history, over $550 million in his career, which is just absolutely insane. All right, scrolling down. What did I miss here? Franco asked, George, CBDCs haven't even started, and they're already prohibiting people from Ontario, Canada from buying some crypto. Now imagine what they can or will ban when CBDCs are all over. Well, that's the thing. This is scary in many ways because I haven't heard of any other regions or countries that have come out and said, okay, you could buy, but there's a limit to what you could buy and how much you could buy. Right? This is the first time I've ever heard it. I've never heard of this before, and that's why it's scary, right? And yeah, when countries have their own CBDCs, how are they going to regulate other stablecoins or crypto in general that compete with their CBDCs, like you said? It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So, I don't know. I actually don't know how this came about in Ontario, Canada. It wasn't, I mean, I didn't see any news about it. This is the first time. Where exactly is Do Kwon? Well, he's in Singapore. And supposedly he's going to open up to more interviews. That's what he said. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah. Michael, I appreciate it. I signed a lifetime contract with BTC. That's about right. Kevin O'Leary would definitely have something to say about BitBuy. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I think that's the exchange that he bought or bought partial ownership in. That's Brett, thanks for bringing that up. I actually want to see what he has to say about that, because that's actually, that's going to be pretty horrible for him. I think a lot of people are going to get off that exchange. These new IRS, okay, Shaolin asked, these new IRS agents in the U.S. are supposed to go after 400K earners and up. It's not going to happen. They know it. You think these agents are coming from middle-class crypto traders? I guess I have to ask you why you think they're coming from middle-class crypto traders. Because if you look at how much, and I don't have this specific stats, but I'm willing to bet that middle-class crypto traders did not make nearly as much money as the high earners or the upper-class crypto traders or upper-class equities traders. The IRS, if they're going to go after people, they're going to go after rich people, all right? So just use logic. You think middle-class crypto traders that made 20, 30, 50,000 last year, do they really care about that, or do they care about whales that made $50 million last year, right? So, I think you just got to look at it that way. And you're not the first person to ask me that. People are asking, oh, I think the IRS is going to go after middle class or whatever. I mean, they're going to go after whoever has money. That's their whole point. They're going to go after whoever made the most and see if they dodge the most taxes, basically. But here's the thing, though. The rich, they're not hiding. The rich has all the legal loopholes out there. They put their money, they borrow against their money, and there's so many tax deductions. If you have a business, you have real estate. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to deduct your taxes. So the rich, really, they're the first people that actually turn in their tax return. But, I'm pretty sure there's exceptions to the rule. NMCT, I missed most of the stream. Isn't it good that this dip is happening? All of crypto basically did nothing but go up for 3 months, although a bit slow. Well, it depends. Depends on, this sounds like maybe you want it to happen because you didn't buy any at the low point. But a lot of people did. So they want to see the rally continue. But of course, we're not far off from bottom, right? We're not far off from 17K. And I've been saying, even at these levels, even when we were at 24 just yesterday, I mean, it's not that far off. It's a good time to be DCing. We're a lot closer to bottom than we are to top for sure. And all the metrics still good. All the models and everything, even technical analysis, all look pretty good on a macro scale, right? But we do have a couple things we had to get past, like, for example, DXY. That's more of a short-term thing, and that's because of how strong the U.S. economy is versus other economies around the world. The euro, the pound, the yen, they're all struggling against the USD, right? But we will get through it. We'll get through that. Rich people don't pay taxes legally. I'll tell you this, okay? I always thought the same way. Like, rich people don't pay any taxes. They figured it out. They have all the deductions, and they don't have to they don't have to pay any taxes. I'll tell you, that's simply not true. maybe if you're Elon or you're a billionaire, right, you could borrow against your stock and maybe then you don't have to pay any taxes. But I'll tell you, the amount that I paid last year was astronomical, more than I've ever paid in my lifetime combined. Okay, so I'll tell you that, yeah, there's only a certain amount of deductions and loopholes you could get, and then the remaining amount is just taxes. You just got to pay it. And there's many others that have felt the same pain as I have last year. That's just the reality. So unless you're a billionaire with billions of stock that you could just borrow endlessly against, for everyone else, they're still paying taxes. Cardano's TVL is approaching 10 million. Good signs of things to come. I don't disagree there. But 10 million is still very early. You got to see that go up to 1 billion, right? Even at 100 million would be great, but still, 100 million is still really small compared to some of the bigger boys. But it is a start. It is a start. Let's see. I have no idea who Jake Tran is. I've never heard of him before. It's MP. Same. First time I ever paid taxes in my life. Well, that's not what I meant. I meant, okay. But I'm glad that you're agreeing. Elon paid $6 billion for taxes last year. That's only because he sold, and the only reason why he sold is because he was going to get rewarded more options. You know how his salary is structured, where if Tesla gets to certain milestones, he gets a whole bunch of Tesla stock, and you had to pay the taxes on them when you get it. So he actually had to sell stock to get cash to get more shares. So his shares actually went up. It didn't go down. But that's the reason why he had to pay the $6 billion, which, of course, he said is more taxes than anyone has ever paid in history, right? That is true. But the reality is he got richer after that because he got rewarded more Tesla shares. That's the reason why he sold. Am I a fan of Avalanche? Yes. Yes, I am. I think they're doing great things, too. I don't talk a lot about them recently, but they have a lot of things going on. I support them, and I think they're good. They're a good project. Maybe new IRS employees are coming for OnlyFans models. I would not doubt that. These OnlyFans guys are making as much, when I say guys, I mean girls. These OnlyFans girls are making more money than crypto traders did in 2021. I'll say that, or crypto investors, I should say. They are making so much money, and I don't know if they're reporting. So maybe the IRS employees are going after OnlyFans. It's definitely a new, lucrative business for many. Jeff Hammer, appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. Brendan Gray says, Ontario is only one of our 10 provinces. Just how FYI. Doesn't affect Canada as a whole. Well, I hope you are right. But Ontario is definitely a big province. And if their Security Exchange or Commission has approved this, you don't think that they're starting to talk to other provinces as well, right? Knock on wood, I don't want to see it happen, right? But the fact that it did, at least in one province already, is kind of scary. It's really scary. It should have never been allowed. I don't know if it just got secretly passed on or the Security Commission just decided on their own. Should have never happened in the first place. Will Coinbase be okay despite all the legal issues? I think so. Coinbase, it's hard for me to imagine that Coinbase actually goes under. They've been around for so long. They have so many Bitcoin and then forked stuff like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV. I don't believe they really gave all of it out to the people. And everything else and all the other forks and, early Litecoin mining days, they have so much Litecoin. I mean, they have so much, right? Not to mention they're publicly traded. And now they have a big relationship with BlackRock, right? I don't see that he is, or I don't think Coinbase is going to go down. I think they're still okay. But you know what? Safeguard your own crypto. If you don't trust Coinbase, you want to safeguard yourself, hey, do so, right? Download a wallet, get a ledger, or download a Trust wallet and get your crypto out of there. There's no reason why you can't do that, right? If you have any fear about your crypto on any exchange, take it out. Safeguard yourself. That's the whole point. Jay, just calm down, man. Does DXY have to start going down before Bitcoin and crypto start making a bull run towards the next all-time high? Well, if you look at history, yes. All the previous like crazy exponential runs happened when the DXY went down. Doesn't mean that it always has to be like that, but it certainly helps. Because when DXY comes down, what does that mean? People take money out and they put it into everything else. And it's kind of like, it's just one of those metrics that people look at, right? And there's many that probably won't put money into crypto and equities while it's going up too. Not necessarily that they're buying DXY, but it's just that they're holding off, right? So we'll see. Previous runs definitely were helped by the DXY going down. Let's just put it that way. You should start exchange? No, thank you. No, thank you. I had a thought like that back in 2017, 2018. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want the SEC to come after me. I don't want to deal with security breaches or employees stealing private keys and stuff like that. No, thank you. Rivian going to get wrecked? I don't know. They're not selling that many cars. None of the automakers are selling that many cars, or EV automakers, other than Tesla. So I don't know if Rivian is going to make it. Hopefully they do. They're well backed by Amazon. Amazon's going to start using some of the EV trucks for delivery. That's the reason why they invested in them. But both Amazon and Ford took huge write-offs because of Rivian's stock performance. I hope you guys all saw my my video on the new Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. That looks like a badass EV muscle car. So I did a preview video, kind of first look video. It's like a reaction video, but I put it on my drivers only channel. It's more fitting there. But man, if Dodge could do what they're trying to do, right, which is to actually make an EV car like a muscle car, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. But I don't know if they could pull it off, especially the sound part. Because they kind of played some of the fake exhaust noise, and it did not sound good at all. It did not sound good at all. But hopefully they can improve upon it. Yeah, going back to the old logo, I wasn't even aware of it. That was before my time. But the new diamond, or not diamond, triangle logo actually looks pretty cool. The new Dodge Hornet, that looks kind of weird to me. It's like a station wagon kind of look. I don't know. That one looks kind of weird. Kenny says, you're right, DCA's way to go. Patience is key. I'm glad you agree. I mean, really, when it comes to investing, the one thing I've learned over 2 decades is really to have patience. When you try to rush things, it always ends up badly. Rushing never works. Patience is really what works, but most people don't have patience. Most people think about, holding 5 years, holding 10 years, forget it. Forget it. I got other uses for that money. And then 5 to 10 years pass, they're like, I could have got in at, whatever price, right? It's always like that. Have I driven a new Bronco? Yes. stick shift Bronco and a regular one. The stick shift one makes it a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable. And you don't see many stick shifts with SUVs, right? But yeah, that's actually pretty fun. Would you pay MSRP for a car with 2K miles? Yeah, it depends. That's not too bad. 2K miles is still relatively new. It depends on what car and if you really need one. My patience is running thin because the economy sucks. Well, I mean, hey, if the economy is great and we're blooming, and let's just say Bitcoin at 69,000, would you prefer it like that? Because would you rather buy at 69,000 or would you rather buy at 23,000? So that's the best way to look at it. While things are going up, everyone has euphoria, everyone is FOMOing in, right? But that's the most dangerous time to buy. That's usually when things are going to flip under, right? But because of human psychology, when things are down and things are low, no one seems to want to buy. People always want to buy when things are going up. No one wants to buy when things are going down, when towards the bottom, right? But that's when true wealth is made, by buying really low when others are panicking. You buy when people are fearful, when blood is in the streets. And sometimes you buy even when it's your own blood in the street, right? That's the whole point of DCA and cost averaging over the long term. George, it looks like She-Hulk will end up making Hulk look bad. Marvel and Disney need to stop forcing this, just saying. Hey, I think it comes out today, right? I didn't watch it. I probably will because all my other shows ended. Better Call Saul, series finale. It was pretty good until the ending, I thought. Westworld ended, which I don't know how they're going to continue Westworld. I mean, it got interesting, but then it got bad too. So I don't know if they're going to come out with season 5, but I got nothing else to watch now. But yeah, recently all the Marvel movies I've been watching, it hasn't been that good. So maybe like this whole phase 5 thing, phase 6, could all be a disappointment. Hopefully not, but could be. Darren Smith said, I tried to beat the market after holding over a year and sold to build my stacks. It went up. Now I need to come back down to get back in. Never again. DCA is best. Yeah. You know, I hear that time and time again. People either saying, you know, had I not traded at all, I would be up more. Or people that say, well, I just got totally wrecked. Now I have to buy in at a higher price, right? Again, had they just held, they would have been in a better place. I mean, I hear that all the time. Every single cycle, you hear the same thing. And I've went through the same thing. It's not like I'm above it. The reason why I have this philosophy is because I went through it so many times. In 2000, 2008, 2018. Now, I mean, it's, you know, been through a lot of these up and downs. The Boys is the real Marvel. The Boys is an awesome show. Awesome, awesome show. Next year is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm probably next year they probably should end it, because if they go any longer than next year, I think they're going to run out of ideas. So, yeah. House of Dragon, the new Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones until the ending again. Seems like a lot of these shows don't know how to end. They just don't. The ending of Game of Thrones is absolutely one of the most disappointing endings. I don't remember being that disappointed with the ending since like Lost, if you guys remember that show. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna get excited with this new House of Dragon. You know what would have been better? You know, ending of Game of Thrones, I forgot the little girl's name. Well, she wasn't little anymore, but she was sailing for the east, you know, towards the east, right? Because Game of Thrones didn't introduce Asians in there, right? You think about it, it's like the whole world, but no Asians. So it would have been interesting, or maybe they'll do this later, when they show her go towards the east and then meet up with new civilizations, including, you know, some Asians. Maybe. I don't know. That seemed like that would have been a good, follow-up there. A sequel. Maybe they're going to do that. A prequel, I don't know. I'm just not too excited about this prequel. Maybe it'll turn out to be a great series, but we'll see. Yeah, Lost's ending was absolutely horrible. And the whole last season didn't make any sense. To be honest, I forgot what it was about. Like, I don't even know. I just remember an island, like, could disappear from one place to another, a teleporting island and stuff. Like, I forgot what happened with Lost. It just ended really bad. Yeah, and every single character from Lost basically became nobodies, other than the girl who is now in Ant-Man, other than her. But everyone else you don't see anymore. All right, guys. Yeah, let's end it at that. Oh, I totally forgot. Q&A was supposed to be like this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to zoom in so much on my face, but hopefully you guys enjoyed that anyways. Bottom line is Bitcoin is down a little bit. DXY is skyrocketing. Let's see if this is going to continue. DXY skyrocketing is not good for crypto and equities, but it's good for the overall economy. So, I don't know. It's a catch-22, right? But I do think that it can continue. But the other major thing is Ontario, Canada, blocking how much people could buy in terms of crypto. That is more scary to me. And hopefully that doesn't expand to other provinces within Canada, because that would be absolutely horrible, right? But outside of these two things, you know what? Bitcoin is still strong. Crypto is still strong. We will get through any headwinds we face, right? We just got to be patient, DCA, and focus on the future. All right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, and check out my other channels. All right, have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.